It says that we're live on YouTube, but I don't see our YouTube page. Oh, yep, it just put up.
Live.
It says it's live, Nadia.
I know, I just got it. Just got the notification.
There are two phone numbers on this Zoom call. 6069, could you say hello and tell us who you are?
Suzanne. Oh, isn't that City Hall?
One's Rich and one's no.
6069 is you, ain't it, James?
No.
This is Rich.
right, thank you.
6069 is me.
Suzanne, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And this is Rich speaking on.
Yeah, we got you.
Rich, you're speaking on what? 7459?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. The person
But
on
I'm not sure. I'm surprised it's not coming up as.
No, it's not you, Rich. The person whose number is 7459, can you please tell us who you are?
Who is that? I think it's Mike. Hey, Mike, why don't you identify yourself?
Mike DePetris.
Thank you, Mike.
610-745. Yes, 59. Mike DePetris.
Thank you. The reason why I'm asking this, ladies and gentlemen, is because we have two feeds. We have a Zoom feed and we have a YouTube feed. So for those of us who are on this particular feed, we just want to make sure you receive the invite and you are who you say you are. Thank you.
Want to count for me? Wow. I'll call you. Okay, who all from council? I have Councilwoman Green, Councilwoman Graves, Councilwoman Alameen, Councilman Folks, Councilwoman Hunt. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Simpson, we're not sure of. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. First of all, good evening to everyone. And someone will open us up in a word of prayer.
Sure. I would like to have a moment of silence. Ashe.
Thank you. The flag, do we have a flag available?
Chief.
I have one over my shoulder.
Hi,
Chief.
Chief. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
And
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
nation under God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with liberty
and
and
justice.
justice for all.
Thank you so much. Again, welcome. And we're coming out of our executive session where we were discussing personnel, real estate, and legal matters. And right now, we'd just like to ask for a motion for approval of
I'll make that motion.
A
I'll
second.
second.
I have motion, Councilwoman Green, and second, Councilman Folks.
Yes. Any questions or comments regarding the minutes? Poll council, please.
Mr. Folks,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Alameen,
Yes.
Ms. Graves,
Yes.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender North.
Yes. Ms. Malday, please make note that Mr. Simpson is right now not here in the meeting, may very well be able to get in. Could I get a motion for approval of our accounts payable?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Ms. Alameen, Mr. Folks, questions, comments? Poll council, please.
Mrs. Green,
Yeah.
Ms. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Salamine,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Mr. Fultz,
Yes.
Mrs. Lebanon North.
Yes. At this time, are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda?
Yes, I have in addition, considering the conversation we had last week about considering for conditional hire, law enforcement, I would like us to have discussion on legislation to look into history and criminal background check, including history at the department as 7.6 under discussion items.
What?
I'm sorry, you want to add?
Discussing legislation for city council to look at backgrounds on police officers before hire.
7.6.
As 7.6.
Madam President, I would like to add an addition to 6.7
Okay.
to under action item to promote our acting city manager to city manager.
Very well, that would be 6.7.
Yeah.
Okay. We need a motion for these. Are there any others? I'm sorry. Could I get a motion for these, for the addition of 6.7 and 7.6?
I'll make that motion.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
I did, but somebody else did too.
Jackie can make addition. I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Poll council, please.
Mr. Fultz,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Salamine,
Yes.
Ms. Graves,
Yes.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Lebanon North.
Yes. On to presentation. Is Dr. Hannah available?
I don't see him on the participants list right now.
Okay, so let's move forward with the DEPG presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President. This is Jim DePetris. Here with us this evening are brothers Michael, Stephen, and David, and my daughter Jamie, and attorney Mark Kaplan. We are most enthused about being here, and we also have our engineer, Mike Kissinger, with us. Right?
Is that him?
Right, Mike Kissinger. Hi, Mike. Very good. And Gary Pergolini from TN Ward is present as well. So we had circulated a short agenda. First of all, I'll tell you that we're very enthused about working with Mr. Logan as the new acting manager. And I know James will be holding a special meeting on site to review a lot of the construction matters. And we're enthused about his new leadership. We'd like to touch base on a couple of things. One is the construction schedules that are taking place. And Madam President, I just want to ask, we have about 10, 15 minutes. Would that be correct?
Yes, sir, 10.
10? Okay.
Yes, sir.
They want to make sure team is ready. So Steve,
Very
if you would please just touch on, we'll break this into two components. Verizon first, and then we'll talk about Pico.
Sure. So, Gary, you can correct me if I'm incorrect in anything I'm reviewing, but Verizon mobilized for the manhole repair and completed the job as of today. So that was one key element that we needed in order for us to regrade and repave Diamond Street. And they're laying down conduit right now from the center of First Avenue to the future building, because it was a logical step to do that phase while Diamond Street was unpaved. Otherwise, they would have had to cut through the paving. So they are scheduled to finish that August 28th. And TN Ward is set to mobilize on August 31st. And they've also committed to complete the project from the date that Verizon completed the manhole repair, which is today's date. So from 45 days from the 24th, they'll complete the regrading and repaving of Diamond Street, which should be, I believe, 10/13, October 13th.
Right. And Steve, we had a meeting with Verizon out of the site about a month ago, and unfortunately, their representative got sick. Fortunately, he didn't have COVID, but we did lose a couple of weeks, and then he went on vacation. But that's all behind us, and we're looking forward to having Diamond Street, looking brand new.
Wonderful.
All right, so that's underway, and I think that's all good news. If you would, Steve, also let's talk about Pico, because this is a very challenging subject, and we really all need to strategize on this together. Steve, why don't you touch base with what we've been doing to sort of kickstart this and review where we are with Pico. This is on the Lincoln Avenue improvements.
Right. Well, with Pico regarding the South Side streetscape, it really goes back to February 18th when we had a meeting at State Representative Dan Williams' office with representatives from the city, Cedarville, DEPG, our team of engineers, and Verizon, Pico. And it was agreed that DEPG would do the extra excavation needed to relocate the electric line. And then Pico agreed to provide the conduit, which we would lay down. And then Pico would then pull the electrical line, make whatever terminations to complete the relocation of the electric lines. So from that February 18th meeting, it was discussed that their design plans would take approximately 2 weeks. And, that there was some questions, I believe, that they requested, request for information that kind of went back and forth. But I think by mid-March, those answers, as my understanding, were provided. So it's been at least 5 months, and we have exhausted our attempts to get an accurate status of where those design drawings are. We can't move our portion of the project forward. We can't price the work until we get those design drawings. And we have reached out through Ricky Campbell of State Representative Dan Williams. He's been extremely supportive and helpful. And we talked to him about 2 weeks ago, and he was going to try to connect with someone at Pico. We spoke to Kevin Carson this morning with Senator Dinniman's office, and he also was going to reach out to Pico as well. This morning, we talked to James Logan and he was going to give Scott Newman, who's the legislative affairs officer for PICO. We're trying to bring all forces together to try to get these design drawings so that we can move the South Side streetscape forward.
So, Madam President, I would just tell you that it's very upsetting for us, but also how Coatesville, city of Coatesville is being treated here. I know they're very busy, PICO, and they have a lot going on, but their lack of attention to this is very disheartening. So I think, James, you'll be leading the charge locally here, and we just need to try to shake the trees loose and get them to cooperate.
Jim, this is Mark.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You know, I represent multiple developers over all areas of the Delaware Valley. And this is going on all over with PICO. And I had it last week for another client who had to deliver a house. PICO's just not getting it done. And there are some people that you can once in a while talk to in PICO, but I don't understand why the city of Coatesville has not been involved and banging on PICO's doors. And if they have, and I don't understand it, I apologize. But I've read all the emails, I've read all the letters that have been addressed to you and your brothers. And I've seen the timeline, I've read new TN Ward's letters, and you can't keep beating up on the DePetrises when PICO can't get out of its own way, and everybody in the development business knows that's going on all over. So I offer that comment, Jim, so that you're not apologizing for PICO. This is a problem that is prevalent all over, and I suggest the city get involved and shake the trees at PICO and get them to get this work done.
Yeah. It's
did I hear you say the state rep was involved in trying to reach PICO?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did I hear you say that the state rep was involved in trying to reach PICO?
Yes, we reached out to Ricky Campbell, and again, he's been extremely supportive. And he's been, by the way, involved at a very early stage with PICO. He was lobbying for the electric line deactivation. So, he has definitely been very helpful. And, he said that he was again going to try to talk with PICO, as did James Logan this morning, said he would call Scott Newman. So,
Well, I was just making that comment because of the comments that the solicitor just made, as though no one's doing anything. Mr. Kissinger, can you weigh in on that? Do you have any idea of what the holdup could be with PICO? I know that you dealt with them with different things with the train station.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think that PICO is experiencing the same delays that we all are in this new COVID world. And I think that they're understaffed. I think that they have to prioritize things with the series of storms that have run through the area. And so I think it's a mix of priority / staffing and so on. And like Mr. Kaplan said, it's something that's running the gamut on the entire area.
It seemed like he was slapping us on the hand or something.
Excuse me. I just need to say, Mr. Kaplan, I don't know if you heard what Mr. DePetris said when he said the city was in on the meeting back in February along with him and the representative's office, and the city's not going to apologize for PICO either.
Exactly. No. So what I have seen all over is that PICO has liaison people to municipalities. I see them show up all over. I see them show up at fundraisers. There are people that are in Pico's company
Show up at fundraisers
that have
but not
relationships with municipalities. And it's very good that the city shows up at a meeting held by the state representatives and they bring in Pico. I'm not casting aspersion on anybody. I'm just telling you what I see. That the municipalities and the people that make the most noise with Pico get action. And there's no reason why the municipality is not reaching out to.
Who told you we were not?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've read the emails that have been sent to Jim from members of council blaming him and Steve and David for the inability to get the improvements done on the south side. I read all the emails.
Are they city improvements? Are they improvements we're supposed to have done or DEPG?
No, my understanding, and Steve will tell me if I'm wrong, these are improvements that either Verizon was to make, PennDOT was to make, or Pico was to make before the improvements that DPG was to make. And there's, I don't know, are you reading the letters that the people from TN Ward have submitted? They've laid it out in glaring detail how they've been held up. TN Ward's been held up, DPG's been held up because Pico and Verizon aren't doing anything. And they're in your streets and on your sidewalks. And as I understand it, these improvements that are being made are to the benefit of Coatesville. I mean, we need help. And
well, Mark, from your developer friends, can perhaps you could get a couple of names for us?
Well, I don't understand. Why can't the city reach out to Pico? I mean, they've got. What? Pardon me?
You don't know that they've not. I think the last conversation.
Well, tell me whether you have, and tell me who you reached out to.
Well, James, you're the new sheriff in town. Mike's not here. I think he was doing that, but
yeah, that's James, what I was going to say.
I think that James, it would be wonderful in our meeting that we had that meeting, Steve. You remember we had Pico was very concerned, and they, made some promises. We had their attention, but they sort of drifted away. So I think, James, that maybe we collectively just start banging away ourselves at them because it's just not right. It's not right how they're treated.
Jim, just Pico is going to do their own prioritization. I have been able in big projects where there's a lot of connections and a lot of new service to reach up into Pico to get them to help.
Okay.
What you have is a relatively small project, not going to add that much in new revenue. So somebody at 20th and Market is putting this project down on the lower rungs.
Yeah.
And you as a small developer are not going to get anywhere. You need the municipality's help. You need the municipality banging on Pico's door and saying, you can't do this to us.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think it's a combined effort all the way around. Right. So.
Yeah, Jim, I think
we'll get you to throw your weight around a little bit, Mark. All right.
Pardon me, Jim. I'm sorry.
I think that, listen, we'll talk tomorrow about how you have a way of making things happen, and maybe we can discuss how do we rattle the cages there, because it's just not right. I mean, I feel bad really for the city, how they're being treated. It's just, it's not good. It's not good at all.
Well, I think in the update, I think we wanted to show that, we were doing everything possible, reaching out. We've exhausted our attempts to try to deal with PICO. TN Ward, has been trying to get their response, and we have gone to the state representative, and again, they've been extremely supportive, as well as I think Mike Trio and James Logan. We had very positive conversation this morning about the same matter, and James' idea was to bring in all parties together for an on-site meeting, which we think that's an excellent idea, and to go over the project and the construction schedule and the impasses that we face, and to work to the betterment to get the project completed. That's what everyone wants to achieve here, is to complete the project, and we want to fulfill that obligation. So on a positive note, I'd like to, we look forward to the meeting with all hands.
Thank you.
If Mark is a part of your team, Mr. DePetris,
And to work to the betterment to get the project completed. That's
he has
what
these
everyone wants to see here, is to complete the project, and we want to fulfill that.
Okay. Steve, but just hold up. I think one of the council people is making a statement. Please continue.
Yes, my statement was, if Mark is a part of your team and you have the inroads to PICO, then why aren't you pulling some strings or meeting with some people that you know in higher places to try and get this project moving?
Well, that's why at 9:01 tomorrow, I'm going to call Mark. So, yes.
But
Mark,
you're missing my point.
I know, Mark. I know it's a city, and I think James will be there with me when we do this. I think it's got to be a combined effort. But
Excuse
the
me,
city,
gentlemen. Excuse me. Mr. DePetris, I want to let you know that you were allotted 10 minutes. There's been 15,
well,
so you got to go like really quickly. If you have more to say, I need you to say it.
Okay, thank you. We talked too much about that. A couple of small areas is we did, Mr. Troutman, who's been very good to deal with. We did make an escrow payment today. We are going to have a meeting with Mr. Logan to discuss sort of a procedure going forward, so that Cedarville and DEPG have a good understanding. It's been, not well coordinated. So we want to do that. And Mr. Logan's indicated that he will certainly move to structure that. And Mike Kissinger, you will be part of that meeting, because as I indicated, we have paid a lot of engineering fees. But sometimes we feel that the charges have been too high. And I think that we just need to have estimates going forward so that we know what to expect. And not much more to talk about that. That's just important. But we know some statements have been misconstrued, and we're really here. We're hardworking, small company trying to do good things, and want to work with the city to make something good happen. We do have some good news that we did sign a letter of intent with the new Prosper Bank, formerly Coastal Savings. They want to take 8,000 square feet on 2 levels at the corner. So that's a very positive thing. We had a good meeting with a prospect that Sonny Hunsinger showed up. So we're going to look to move forward with the phase 3 project. And I think that's going to be, just to let you know, we're having a meeting tomorrow with a bank in the Reading area, and we hope to merge these 2 projects, because right now, to get financing for Arugas is probably an impossibility unless we merge it together with other income. And we got that right from Arugas, where we were asked by the bank, how can the bank pay rent on 25% of their seating? And Arugas said, frankly, we can't. However, they're hopeful that the seating will go back to 50%. There's a lot of pressure on the governor to open things up from the Restaurant Association. So we think that by adding additional retail into the bank submission, that we'll do better. So that's very, very important. We are applying for a renewal of our economic license, which expires the end of this year.
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Yeah, if we can procure this financing, I think we're working with, very good firm in Westchester who specializes in this. That's Skip Bryan and Michael Gill, and that's all they do here is work with this kind of thing. So, but I think it's got to be, hopefully we'll get some good news in the next week or two and be able to show the PLCB that this is a real project that's going to happen. Arugas is very much standing behind us, and we are going to move forward. That's all we have.
Arugula's 2021.
We would be looking, yes, we would be looking at 2021 at this point. That's correct.
It's a long time.
It sure is. It sure is. But, we rounded into the year with a term sheet from Malvern, and we don't have to go there, but, unfortunately, COVID just chopped us in half. But, we're coming at it. We're standing strong. Thank you, Madam President, for the time you've given us.
Thank you, sir. And you have a wonderful evening. Don't leave the meeting. Stay involved.
Okay.
Madam President, I'm seeing Mr. Hannah join.
He did?
Yes.
Dr. Hannah?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I am not a doctor. I appreciate it, but I'm not a doctor. So please call me Tomas.
Okay, Tomas. A pleasure. Introduce yourself and welcome.
It's my pleasure to have an opportunity to see you, Miss Vice President Green. It's good to see you again. I know we coincided last week. I'm Tomas Hannah. I am now 2 months into this opportunity as a superintendent here in the Coatesville Area School District. I'm thrilled to be here with you for a few minutes this evening, just to tell you a little bit about who I am and some of the thinking that I'm beginning to do around this work with a broader team. I hope that when you walk away, you get a sense of my hope, at least, to be a collaborative member of this city and of this area school district. I've been in education 31 years. I started in 1989 as a substitute teacher in Philadelphia. I have worked in the school district of Philadelphia for about 23 years. I was also in the Providence School District in Rhode Island as a deputy superintendent for operations. And I was recently in New York City for the last 9 years as the chief human capital officer in New York City. And so I live in the city of Philadelphia. And so the commute is much less than what it was. I actually commuted from Philadelphia to New York for the last 9 years. And I'll share with you that question I get a lot is like, why Coatesville? And I will share with you that just hearing some of the conversation this evening, the passion that you all demonstrate for your city, our city, the passion that I've heard from our parents, the passion that I've heard from our students, is something that's a heck of a building block, right, to begin with. I also know that the Coatesville Area School District is one that over the last number of years has been distressed financially, academically. We have work to do. But I'm here to say that the folks I've met over the last month and a half doing this work really want to get this work right and want to push it forward. And I am thrilled at that. How do I know this? Over the last month and a half, I've engaged in an entry plan, which has given me an opportunity to meet with parents from our PTOs. Had an opportunity to sort of engage the group last week with Sonny Hunsinger. I've had an opportunity to talk to students on Zoom middle school students, high school students, as I said, parents previously. I had a chance this morning to meet with some of the police chiefs from the area to talk about partnership and what that would look like. I've had an opportunity to talk to clergy since I've been here to engage in sort of like what does good partnership look like? And one of the things that we've talked about is defining what partnership means. I've had an opportunity to engage with people who are very interested, advocates for our students with special needs. And boy, do they have a story to tell about how the district needs to sort of ratchet up its game, do better by our students with disabilities and our English language learners. I'm fully bilingual. I am a product of the University of Puerto Rico in Calle. I am Puerto Rican. Being my second language was Spanish. So when I went to college at the University of Puerto Rico, I totally understood what it meant to be on the other side, right? And so from that perspective, I hope I bring years of experience, passion for this work, and an ability to engage with many people. I have 3 goals in the entry plan, and they're pretty basic as far as I'm concerned. It's number 1, to get a sense of who are the internal and external partners of the district. So engaging with teachers and principals, the board. I do one-on-ones with the board, with board members, to get a sense of like how does the internal team work and external relationships. To figure out, what are the issues that we need to be focusing on. My hope after that first goal, which is to sort of engage in my development as a leader, is what could a plan look like that we all agree to is important for the young people of this school district to move forward. The second goal is to begin an analysis of what's happening in our classrooms. Well, first of all, what's happening in our schools? What's the student experience in our classrooms? So academically, how are we doing? What does our curriculum look like? Right now, what I'd say for what I've learned is that we have a series of programs, right? And there's a desire to have curriculum so that we can do much better by our students. But number 2, in addition to what's happening in the classroom, what's school climate and culture look and feel like in our buildings, right? And so I'm not saying disciplined, although discipline's part of that, because I've heard that's an issue. Wanting to learn more about that. And so I want to try to figure out what that looks like. And one of the questions I'm asking is of folks in our buildings is, how do students speak to students? How do adults engage adults? And how do adults engage students, right? You can walk in a building and get a sense of like what the culture is, right? You can tell is how is it that young people are feeling in a building, adults and things of that sort. So I'm really wanting to take a look at what that looks like as well. And you can't do one and then do the other, right? You've got to do both. You've got to figure out what's the climate of the building so that you have a sense of what teaching and learning needs to happen as well. And then the last goal is pretty basic. It's to take a look at the financial health of this district. One of the things we know that I've learned and that I've been told is that over the last 5 to 7 years, we've lost thousands of students who voted with their feet. They've chosen and opted out of our schools, and we've got to do something to turn that around. Therein lies a lot of the work that we have to do to sort of get the financial health back in our district. I must give props to where I need to give them. And Dr. Dunlop, who was the interim superintendent, and this board did a lot of work around making cuts and delivering a zero tax increase budget, which I think folks really appreciated. And so as Dr. Dunlop handed off the ball, he said, "Don't fumble it, young man. You see this gray here, but young man, right?" And so he said, "Don't fumble it because like we've done a lot of work." And so, that's a lot to engage in. I will share with you that while Dr. Dunlop isn't in the district, he does serve sort of in a mentor capacity. So every now and again, I get a chance to, give him a call and sort of share with him the kinds of things that are happening, because we have to reverse the exodus of our students to charter schools, I believe, to sort of engage in this health. The other thing is that there's something to be said to learn from charter schools. So part of that work is about asking families and young people why they opted out, right? What did you opt into, and what might we learn from that? So I know that's one of our charters teaches languages in the kindergarten. In kindergarten, they're teaching robotics in kindergarten. We should be able to do that. And so engaging in those types of dialogues and learning from folks, and not just make it it's a problem and it's us against them. It's like, let's try to figure that out. Can I give you some good news before I take a breath?
Please.
I know I got 10 minutes. I have 10 minutes and I want to hold up because I heard earlier, right? Is last year at this time, and I think Ms. Green, Vice President Green, you heard this the other night. Last year at this time, in terms of our student population loss, and again, I'm going to be really clear, this is data from July 31st, so eyes wide open, that could potentially change. But our student enrollment program is like, this is something that we need to think about and begin to maybe, don't start dancing yet, but pick your music, right? And last year at this time, Coatesville Area School District lost 282 students at this point in time who opted out last year. This year, the number's 45.
Wow.
Now, I'm telling you right now, I had nothing to do with that. I just showed up, right? And so don't fumble the ball, right? And my sense is some of that could be COVID, I'm not sure, but it could also be the fact that we're looking to bring back about 19 self-contained classes for our students with disabilities who heretofore had been put into an inclusion situation without much support, right? And so my hope is that that's part of that. My other hope is that we're just, it's the work that we're trying to do is something that people buy into. So that's number one. That's an 85% reduction in enrollment loss. Kids who were with us last year. Charter growth is actually down by 76 students. However, the number of students who went to charters this year versus last year was about 260 students had gone to charters, right? And this year it's 189. So that number's gone down. But when you think of that number 45, wait, only 45 of your students left and 190 went to charters, that's a group of folks who didn't even give us a shot from the beginning, right? Kindergarten parents are like, no, it's okay. There's a perception that we have to deal with. And so we've got to try to figure out how do we communicate more broadly with parents with 2, 3, and 4-year-olds, right? And sort of sell them on the district and sort of get them into buildings and see what it is that we're doing at the elementary level to provide support. There's a lot of work that has to happen, but I'm here to tell you that there's a building block right now, and we really want to try to build upon that. With that said, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. The last thing I'd share with you is that we're looking at starting virtually as every other district in the Chester County area. In our district. However, one of the pieces of work we're engaged in right now is around equity. And we know that our students with disabilities and our English language learners since March have really been underserved more so than ever because of the situation we find ourselves in. So we are actually looking to see the extent to which we can bring back our students with disabilities where we can socially distance responsibly so that these young people can get back into schools and we can begin working with them. So from that perspective, that's a piece of work that you may hear we're doing. We've reached out to parents, we've reached out to teachers so that we can serve our young people. And with that, I'll stop. I'm looking at my clock. I hope I stayed within my 10 minutes. I look forward to the partnership, and I think I heard you say stay online, so I won't leave either.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And welcome again to our district.
Thank you.
Mr. Hanna is on point, and I think that you're going to be very successful with the approaches that you are pursuing. So thank you again and welcome.
I appreciate it. I look forward to the collaboration and partnership.
Thank you. Is Beth Euler, are you online with us?
Yes, I'm right here.
Hi there, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm grateful. Would you introduce yourself and proceed, please?
Sure, thank you for having me tonight. My name is Beth Euler. I'm with Cedarville Engineering Group, and I'm a project manager for the MS4 program. And MS4 stands for the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System Permit that the city has, and was asked to present a little about the city's responsibilities tonight and the level of effort needed to address some of the requirements. So James, should I go ahead and share my screen, or should I just kind of give a verbal description?
Yeah, if you can share your screen, I think Ruth Ann, she can help you if you can't do it from your computer.
I think I should be good. Let's just see if it works here. All right. Are you able to, oop, here we go. Let's try that. Are you seeing anything?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. So that is just our introductory slide, which I already introduced myself, and I appreciate council for having me. I was here most recently back in February to give a status update on the program, and I'm just going to give a really brief background to give perspective. And most of the members of council have heard about the program before, and I'm here to just reiterate what the requirements are and kind of give a little bit of a background and the level of effort coming up. So next, why is this program important? So this is about the stormwater discharges that the city has from the city roads that enter in the streams into the municipal storm sewer system and the stream itself. So the goal of the program is to reduce pollutants into our storm sewers and then in turn into the streams. In turn, protecting water quality. So the overall goal of the program is good. Now, why else is it important? It's because it is a state and federal requirement. In Pennsylvania, DEP administers the program. They conduct inspections at a minimum once every 5 years of a municipality, and the city hasn't had an inspection recently. But when they do, they'll conduct an inspection and they'll issue violations for non-compliance. And that would be the penalty for not implementing your stormwater management program. EPA is kind of the enforcing arm of the program, and it trickles down to DEP. And they will conduct periodic audits at random, so not any kind of certain specified frequency, and assess penalties and fines if there is non-compliance involved with the stormwater program. The general components, and I didn't have my pretty pictures, I just wanted to jam it all onto one slide here. There are 6 minimum control measures, and that's the public education and outreach regarding stormwater and pollution prevention and water quality and the importance of it. Public involvement and participation, that's presenting information like this at public meetings, as well as organizing things like cleanups at parks and cleanups at the streams. Illicit discharge detection and elimination, and that's really the importance of having your entire storm system mapped, and that way you can track where pollutants are, if there is a spill, where you need to react and remediate and coordinate. So that's really important. The mapping is also important from a public works standpoint. So you can communicate when there is a clog in an inlet and it needs to be remediated as well. Construction site stormwater runoff control. This is your erosion and sediment control at stormwater or at construction sites. So if you have an active construction site, ensuring that they're complying with your ordinance and the erosion and sediment control measures there. And the conservation district helps a lot with this one. And post-construction stormwater management for development and redevelopment, that's making sure that these stormwater controls that are put in as part of a development or part of the construction activity function for the long term, that they're being properly operated and maintained. And that's part of the city's responsibility to enforce your stormwater ordinance and ensure that that happens. And then number 6 is pollution prevention and good housekeeping. This is really making sure that the city's public works department and other facets, even police department and things like that are conscious of stormwater as a potential source of pollution, so that none of the activities that the city is doing is actually contributing to pollution of the streams. So that's things like, are you storing spent oil in the proper way, disposing of it in the proper manner, not pouring things down the storm drain, making sure that things aren't stored near storm drains that could run off into it and then in turn into our streams. Then we have other responsibilities like pollutant control measures. The West Branch Brandywine Creek is listed as impaired for PCBs. So the city has to look into that and complete an inventory of potential sources of PCBs, and then eventually, a little bit down the road, investigate it. And then we've also talked about the total maximum daily load plan in the past. And this is where the city has a requirement to reduce sediment and nutrient loading to the West Branch Brandywine Creek. And the Millview Basin retrofit and outfall stabilization project is going to fulfill the remaining requirements for that. And there's a Growing Greener grant application pending to fund the engineering and construction for that project in partnership with Valley Township. Now, minimum control measures 1 and 2, the public education outreach and public involvement and participation, the city gets a lot of assistance through Christina Watershed's municipal partnership. They do a municipality that's part of the Christina Watershed, which the city is part of, will provide some outreach and assistance. That's through Brandywine Red Clay Alliance. And so there's some cost-effective ways at addressing those requirements. But really there are some things that the staff has to coordinate in-house in terms of documenting some of your public works practices and things like that. But there are also some things that that Cedarville tries to put together a level of effort to help the city address these requirements each year. And so we've put together a level of effort for 2020. And what I've done here is I put an arrow for the task 4, which that can be deferred until really only needs to be done once per permit term, and a permit term just started. So that could be deferred until 2023 if necessary. The most important tasks on here that are time sensitive are tasks 8 and 9. And that's your pollutant control measures and your annual NMS4 status report. That is due to DEP September 30th. So those are the items that we have put together for 2020, and we would do it again for 2021. These are annual tasks that are ongoing. Now, the next logical question might be, where is the sources of funding on this? And we've talked about this in some previous council meetings, and the fact of the matter is that this requirement, the MS4 program, is an unfunded mandate. It's come down from the federal government to the state government to us, and it's an unfunded mandate. Is there assistance out there for municipalities to implement these programs? Well, I kind of mentioned before, the Brandywine Red Clay Alliance, these watershed organizations, they do help in addressing some of these requirements. 1 and 2, the public education and outreach piece, the public involvement participation piece. There are ways to do that. Can those types of things pay for the entire program? There's some things that city staff needs to do, and there's some things that city engineer may have to do, and that's really decisions that are made on a municipality by municipality basis. When it comes to grants, the grants that are available primarily help with TMDL plan implementation, construction projects, not a lot more of the programmatic types of things. Although there might be some things available, but the general program implementation, you can't apply for a grant for your MS4 program and just kind of check that box. And then like low interest loans, that's primarily for that's like your PennVest, and that's primarily for your TMDL plan implementation. Another funding source is a stormwater fee, and that's basically assessing each individual's contribution to stormwater by the amount of impervious surface they have on their property, similar to any other types of fee. Now, in no way am I suggesting that that's something that could be done, but it's a potential source of funding that other municipalities have done. And for example, the city of Philadelphia has assessed a stormwater fee. So that's my kind of overall, in a nutshell, hopefully 10 minutes presentation to you, and always the bearer of the unfunded mandate news. But yeah, so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them either now or as a follow-up. My contact information is on the screen.
Beth, I want to thank you for presenting tonight. As I shared with you, I think this information is very important to our city and to our city council members as we move forward. And I'm looking forward to working with you and Cedarville to identify these grants that can help us take care of some of these initiatives. So thank you.
Thank you.
Then is muted.
I was saying thank you. Thanks, Councilman Folks. I was saying thank you to Beth, and just urge you to stay in, hang out with us during our meeting, and we will be in touch with you. Thanks again for your presentation.
Will do. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And last but certainly not least is our district attorney, Ms. Deb Ryan. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me. And congratulations to Mr. Logan in your new role, and to Mr. Hanna also in your new role. I look forward to meeting with you soon to discuss our relationship and partnership from the district attorney's office. So Mr. Logan had asked that I give you all an update on what was going on with the district attorney's office. And also I wanted to comment upon a recent case that occurred in Coatesville, and express and extend our gratitude to Chief Lawfer. And I wonder if it's possible, my screen is still on Beth's shared screen, I think. Is there a way to get it back on to, thank you so much. Good, it's good to see everybody. So I just wanted to give you an overview of what's going on, but first start with Chief Lawfer and say thank you to the chief and his department for the recent arrest that occurred last week. Our offices and other agencies worked collaboratively to make an arrest that was pretty significant, where we were able to get a significant amount of drugs, guns, and money off the streets. And so I want to thank you, Chief, for everything that you've done in order to effectuate that arrest. So I want to tell you about some of the initiatives that our office has been working on since I started in January. And some of it had taken a slight turn as a result of the pandemic. But what we have been working on, what we hope to unveil soon, is our conviction integrity review application. We are starting a new unit in the office, which we've never had before, where we will be taking applications from convicted defendants through their attorney or through themselves for claims of actual innocence. So this will involve an application process that can happen online, or you can get a printed copy. And there will be criteria posted on our website indicating what you have to have in order to make application. And it's very important to note that these are only for felony convictions, and that there is specific criteria that has to fit in order for us to review the application. And since we've never done this before in our office, but this is the nationwide sweep in order to ensure that there are fair and just outcomes in places like the district attorney's office, we encourage people to file this application, but know that it is got some stringent requirements, and we follow them from the Office of the Attorney General. So we will have an assigned deputy prosecutor who will be reviewing these cases, and if there's any type of conflict within our office, they will be referred out to the Office of the Attorney General. And essentially, we have to ensure that there's credible evidence that there is innocence. So that's the standard for us to review these new applications. And our goal is that we will put these up online next week. So we hope to have a press release coming out this week to give the community more information about what's involved, and that there'll be someone in our office who can take questions about how it works. Second, we have just impaneled our very first Chester County Task Force on Race and Justice. That's comprised of 15 members of the county. It's a cross-section of people from the county, and our goal is to assess how law enforcement can improve race relations with members of the community, and also how we can improve the criminal justice system. So our initial goals are going to be with engaging with the community through meetings with law enforcement. I've attended maybe a dozen town hall meetings at this point, where I've been hearing from people in the community about their concerns with respect to issues with law enforcement and criminal justice reform. So our next step is now to engage in actual dialogues on racism and law enforcement. So we have hired an expert who focuses on diversity and inclusion. He's currently the director of diversity and inclusion at Salesianum in Delaware, but he's a former Villanova professor. And tomorrow night, he's starting a pilot with us to talk about how we can make changes and actually engaging in the pilot with this 15-member group. After that, we intend to roll this program out throughout the entire county, where we have small groups getting together, half of which will be comprised of law enforcement and half will be comprised of members of the community. So we can have these open, difficult dialogues and hear each other's perspectives and hope that we can figure out ways that we can improve our relations and move forward. And throughout the time that I've spent in these town hall meetings, one of the things that was most notable was a lack of understanding sometimes about what the exact roles of a prosecutor are, or maybe sometimes what law enforcement is. So we want to make sure that we are engaging in educational sessions with the communities also, where we can have a Q&A so people can ask about what our respective roles are so that they have realistic expectations about what we can do. But also we want to hear about each community's respective concerns, because every place in the entire county has different issues that they want to have addressed. So we intend to continue with this community outreach indefinitely, or at least as long as I'm in charge here. We've had a notable neglect of community engagement in this office over the past decade, and I really hope that we can start having open dialogues with members of the community moving forward, where we'll assign different prosecutors around the county on a rolling basis so that you can meet us, understand what our roles are, and we can hear you and make sure that we're doing our best to address your concerns and listen to what you have to say. Internally, I run an office of about 100 people, and we have started our own work group on diversity, where we have training involves with cultural bias and use of force training, as well as our goal of bringing in more diversity into the office. So we have about 15 members in the office who are part of that, and that includes staff, prosecutors, and detectives, where our goal is to ensure that we're following best practices, that we're going to make sure we educate our own people internally about criminal justice reform. And just so you know, as a prosecutor, when you're taught about how to be a prosecutor, how to engage in things like sentences, we're never really taught about looking at the whole person. And I think that has been something we've neglected to handle appropriately. But now knowing that it's really vital that we assess a person as a whole person to figure out what kind of treatment programs can we get that person into? What is an appropriate sentence? Are we looking at rehabilitation, and are we looking at punishment, and why? So we have to make sure that we're looking at the whole person and the impact that a sentence may have on that person, but also making sure that we, keep the dangerous people in the community, where they need to be if they are and have serious criminal histories, that there's a concern for the danger because of who they are and what they've done. So there's a balancing that we have to do, and we recognize that we have to educate each of these prosecutors to make sure that we're looking at the big picture. So that's some of the things that we have moving forward in our own office. We have been assessing whether there has been an increase in certain types of crime as a result of COVID. And this has been an interesting study where we worked with the Department of Emergency Services. And what we found was an overall increase in domestic violence over any other type of crime. So we looked at the data from last year between March and the end of July, and we compared it to this year between March and July, and we expected it to be high. But this is what I did not expect. We've had a 16% increase in the reports of domestic violence cases countywide, but in Coatesville, we've seen a 33% increase. So we're really concerned about that. And as a former child abuse prosecutor, I'm also very concerned, and Mr. Hanna, this is something I hope that your teachers are aware of, and I'm sure your staff is aware of too, that the bulk of the reports that we get about child abuse come from educators. So normally 60% of the child life reports we get are coming from people on your staff, because they're the ones who get to lay eyes on our kids and pick up notable changes or problems or concerns. And because we don't have kids going into school now, it's really created a huge epidemic. I mean, it's always been one that has been pushed to the wayside, but it's something that I've been trying to proactively educate on for many, many years. So we need to figure out how we can ensure the safety of our kids when they're home without people laying eyes on them on a regular basis. So I welcome a discussion with you, Mr. Hanna, and others further down the road to make sure that we can do our part to be vigilant to protect our kids. But what I wanted to also update you on is that we expect to be receiving funding through our STOP grant, which is something we get every year, which gives us funding on how to combat domestic violence. So coming in January, our hope is that we'll be able to have funding to train 14 new sexual assault nurse examiners. We have a dearth of these people in our county, and I don't know why. So there are very few people who do this job, and there's a huge need for people to do this job, given the number of sexual assault victims we have in this county. So we're constantly waiting on people to show up to help victims in a hospital after they've just been sexually assaulted. So we are doing our best to make sure that we can get new people trained. We're also going to be able to get money to provide, to give to law enforcement agencies throughout the county, where we can give them DNA kits and fingerprint kits. This assists in the investigations and helps to expedite matters for them as well. Further, we're going to be providing training on what's called LAP, which is the lethality assessment program that the Domestic Violence Center of Chester County helps with. So we also provide housing, shelter, training, and counseling to victims of domestic violence, and we'll continue with that over the course of next year. So we have some encouraging and hopeful funding that's coming our way to help combat this other epidemic. And finally, one of the last things we're working on that we hope to bring to the communities next year are youth aid panels. You may have heard of these. They are in certain districts. We're hoping to make this a county-wide initiative where we can help juveniles who've gotten into trouble for low-level offenses and divert them out of the criminal justice system altogether, so that we're getting them treatment and help, teaching them the error of their ways. You know, sometimes they'll do community service, sometimes they'll do a treatment program, sometimes it's a letter of apology. But what our goal is that we don't put them into the system, and that we can ensure that we're getting them the help that they need, so we can straighten them out right then and there, so they're not caught up in the system. So that's going to require a lot of volunteers across the county, and we need the buy-in to do that. And I'm sure I'll come back and pitch to you guys at another point to see if we can get some volunteers in your area. But I think this is a vital program that should occur throughout the county. We're going to be looking for funding through PCCD and the commissioners. But our hope is that we can work with juveniles before they get into more serious trouble and keep them out of our prisons. So we have a lot of very positive things coming our way. It's just some of it is taking a little more time than others, but I'm really hopeful and optimistic that we're on a good path to make some huge improvements in Chester County over the next couple of months. So thank you all for having me here. I hope to come back again and give you some more updates in the next few months.
I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you. And, you know, for all the new programs you have coming forth.
Yes.
With Coatesville being a unique community, it's wonderful to have a fresh set of eyes coming out of your office overlooking us, and these programs will have a wonderful effect on our community. So I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you and thank you for all you're doing.
President, could I just chime in here for one quick second?
Please, sir.
I'd just like to thank the district attorney for coming tonight, and I think she outlaid a very ambitious plan for her office, which I think is even more incredible when you factor in the George Floyd and the COVID impact that has happened pretty much just as she was getting her office organized and getting off and running at the beginning of the year. So we are certainly thankful for the seamless transition as far as the support goes for the city of Coatesville and our officers here in Coatesville. The county detectives, we haven't missed a beat in our working relationship with the attorneys in her office and with the county detectives. So we're excited about that, and we expect that to continue right through the term of her office. And I think the citizens of Coatesville would be well served. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you also, Ms. Ryan. I think that what you're doing is wonderful. This is, I'm just excited to see what comes out of all this. We really
Thanks.
appreciate you.
Thank you, Ms. Green.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Thank,
Thank you so much. And please hang in there with us. We have more to come.
I sure will.
Okay, so we're on to our point where we have our citizens hearing. Do we have any coming in, Mr. Logan?
I don't have any. Ruth Ann, do you have any?
No, just the one, and you said that let her know that you'd respond back to her tomorrow.
Yes, that
About
was
the cleanup.
Ms. Whitaker, who had asked about having officers patrol the Ash Park area. Ms. Whitaker, I will give you a call tomorrow. I'll sit down with Chief and we'll discuss that, and I will certainly circle back with you within a day or so. Thank you.
Very well, thank you. So that does it for our citizens hearing. So we need to close that out.
I make a motion to close.
Who's second, please?
Ms. Hunt.
I can't.
Mrs. Hunt.
Hunt.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Mrs. Hunt.
Questions or comments? Full council, please.
Mrs. Green?
Did you say Green? I said yeah.
Yes. Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Ms. Alameen?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Folks?
Yes.
Mr. Simpson on yet? No. Mrs. Lavender Norris, jeez.
I don't know.
Yes.
Got a couple names.
I think I know the name by now, huh?
Okay, so we're on to our regular action items. 6.1, we want to receive and consider the resolution adopting the City of Coatesville's master fee schedule.
Make that motion, Madam President.
Is there a second?
Ms. Hunt.
Okay. Question, comment?
Yes,
I actually
have
have a couple.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
And so as I looked over the fee schedule, I'm realizing that I don't have the previous knowledge of what the fees used to be as they are upgrading. But also, I noticed that the fire department charges are pretty high. So like police and fire services, $125 per hour. Fire engine is $450 per hour, and the list goes on. And if one of our constituents has a fire and loses everything, possibly gets seriously injured and inevitably has to pay those medical bills, why do we pay $1.4 million for fire if we are charging them fees for the fire services that they receive?
Well, that's how we pay
Ms.
for
Graves, I need you to first understand that these fees are to cover the services. It is not for the city to profit at all. So we have to pay for the equipment and the services.
Correct. The equipment and the services. And so these fees billed to constituents if they have a fire?
Yes.
Absolutely. Well,
they're covered by insurance for most people.
I don't know. To me, it seems extreme because usually people with fires have lost things and then have medical bills, and to have on top of that these like exorbitant fire fees, that's a lot.
I understand and I respect that. However,
we have to do our diligence. We have to provide the services. If someone has a fire, we have to ensure that the department comes out and handles that situation. And the only way we can do that is by covering the cost of that. If we don't charge a fee for service, we can't provide a service.
What you can do, Nadia, is check with other municipalities to ensure that the fees are within the guidelines. Like it's not a fee for profit, it's just a fee for service, like our codes department.
Yes,
It's not fee for profit.
I understand that it's not for profit, but I mean, I just think to get hit with a fire and then these bills is a lot, but I understand.
Yeah, Ms. Graves, if I can, you know, the fees are structured, you know, these are part of our city ordinance. All municipalities, townships, boroughs, they do have them. We took about 4 months to actually do the research to review other municipalities' fees. Actually, for a number of years, we have been woefully lower than other municipalities in the fee structure. So this master fee schedule actually is an upgrade, bringing us more in line with other municipalities. And in addition to that, I mean, certainly I understand, you know, your concern and empathy for, you know, fire victims. You know, it's the same way if you're in a car accident. You know, if you lose your vehicle, if you don't have insurance, you know, oftentimes people take a hardship from that as well. So we are not trying to, you know, increase the hardship from a resident, let alone a family. These are just part of the fee structures of a functioning municipality.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that for me.
Ms. Alameen, you had a question?
I do. I actually talked with Mr. Logan today and Mr. Troutman and got most of my questions answered, but there were 2 other things that I saw after I spoke with them. So under the finance fee schedule, page 5 of 16, if someone requests a duplicate tax bill, we are going to charge them $35 for that?
Yeah, what was the fee before?
Troutman? Excuse me?
What was the fee before?
I think the fee before was either $30 or $25. I have to go back. The current fees are on our website right now, so if you want to do a comparison, but I would have to go back. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, I think it was 25.
So if somebody doesn't get a bill and they call, they have to pay a fee to get a bill sent to them?
If they never got one? Is that right, Mr. Logan? If they never got a bill?
That I don't know. I haven't had to address that. I don't know if Rich is on the line. Rich, would you be able to answer that?
I can partly answer that. Is that we would only pass through, actually, we don't touch the fee. That is something that's done directly through Keystone as part of their services that they provide. In the case of, I do know that when we request duplicates because we know there's an address that's wrong or something of that nature, there's no fee involved.
Okay. And page 8 of 16, tires, no rims removal, $50. Tire with rims removal, $50. Is this, if Public Works, what is this fee actually for? For a person to drop a tire off, to?
That's the kind of candy I don't want you to have.
I thought I saw a schedule.
Mr. Logan?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you were asking me. I've never, I haven't dealt with that. I would have to ask Public Works what that fee is for. But I would, you know, just looking at it, if it's a removal, then we do charge a fee to go and pick up tires with or without rims.
Okay, so
It does
I
say
guess we
drop
can't,
off or pick up.
Because I think disposing of the tires cost us money.
That's money.
Yeah, it does.
yes, it does, but I'm just looking at that fee as to comparison to what I thought it cost us to get rid of them. I do understand that at no place you can't, even if you go and buy new tires, they charge you a disposal fee. I just thought $50 per tire, I thought was a little bit on the high side.
Could that be because the tires with rims, it's a different type of disposal as opposed to just the tire alone?
Well, it says
I
for
don't know,
either
I'm
or.
just
On the
asking.
top, it says tires, no rim. And further down, it says tires with rim. It says drop off $5, pick up $5. But it for tires with or without a rim, removal is $50 per tire.
I mean, we're taking them off the car.
So we're taking the rims out of the
Buying, right.
Yeah, but it's $50 if they don't have a rim, Mr. Logan.
I understand.
Okay, I wanted clarification on that before I voted on it, that's all.
Ms. Alameen?
Yeah.
Ms. Alameen, this is Mr. Burway. I think that the purpose.
You're already on the book.
I'm sorry. I think the purpose of that fee is really for the cost of having it picked up, whether it has a rim or doesn't have a rim. There's still a cost component to the city to have Public Works stop whatever they're doing and go and pick up that tire or pick it up in the course of the day if someone doesn't want to drop it off. So I think the purpose of that fee, or my understanding of that fee, is simply to recapture, as with all these fees, is to recapture the actual cost of
But
picking it
underneath,
up.
it says drop off $5, pick up $5 as well. Like underneath of the tire with rims removal, drop off $5, pick up $5.
Maybe if they take it low.
Which means that if they drop it off, we only charge them $5. So there, I mean, I'll look into it with, I'll talk with our Public Works Department. But
I just think, if we're going to vote on this, there should be clarity on it. Because once we vote on it, then the fees are set.
Well, these fees here, in terms of tires and rims, I mean, the fees have always been here. So
yeah.
we are, I mean, we're not taking the drop off from $2.50 to $5. It's always been $5. That fee has not changed.
So what about abandoned tires? Like, I know every now and then at the back of my building in the alley area, there's tires just left there. So if I call the city and say, hey, I have some tires or tire, because I'm the person that called, am I the one that's going to be assessed that fee, even if it isn't my tire?
No, you're not.
Okay.
We just go out, as Anthony said, our Public Works guys normally would stop, and if we get a call, we'll go and pick it up.
Any other questions?
Now, Mr. Logan, just for clarification, the bulk of this fee schedule is just, well, the purpose of this ordinance is for us to be able to just vote once on receiving the fee schedule total. But most of these fees have already been in place
for years. Yeah, we did. I mean, when we said an overall, we didn't change all of the fees. The fees, as I said earlier, we researched, we did side-by-sides with other municipalities, other townships. You know, we're all in line with other municipalities, and some of these fees we didn't even touch.
Well, I think the purpose of this, for us adopting this, is so that going forward, if we want to change a fee, we can do it strictly by resolution as opposed to ordinance. Is that right, Mr. Vera? It's not a matter of just changing the fee schedules, but just so that we can make changes by resolution or something. Is that
Yes,
right?
yes, ma'am. Gives the council the ability to have some flexibility in changing fees if a cost goes up. Or a good example would be if you're outsourcing, say, code inspection, and the cost of the city goes up substantially, then the fee would need to be adjusted to recapture that actual cost. So you would be able to do that without going through the whole process of readopting an ordinance or adopting a new ordinance.
So these fees have already been in place. It's just a matter of us adopting this resolution so that we don't have to do an ordinance each time.
No, some fees have changed. Some
Yes.
fees have changed in here.
Yes.
Okay.
We do have someone who's a bit of an oracle, I guess, if you will, that might know the last time we had a fee change. Ruth Ann, would you happen to know the last time we had a fee schedule change?
It's been a long time.
It has been.
It's actually been a couple years, and it was mostly what you discussed earlier, the changes in the tires and the air conditioning and all that, picking them up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me offer the resolution for this. Says, whereas the city of Coatesville is a third-class city operating by means of home rule charter, and whereas on August 10th, the city adopted an ordinance amending the Chapter 108 fees of the general laws of the city of Coatesville by deleting that section in its entirety and replacing it with language permitting the setting of fees by resolution. And whereas ordinance number 1536, 2020 will become effective on September 9th, 2020. And whereas the general laws of the city of Coatesville otherwise provide for the setting of fees in a city fee schedule and or by resolution. And whereas the city desires to set fees in the city of Coatesville master fee schedule as permitted by ordinance number 1536-2020 and the general laws of the city of Coatesville. And now therefore be it resolved by the council of the city of Coatesville that the city of Coatesville adopts the attached city of Coatesville master fee schedule as the city's official fee schedule as permitted by ordinance 1536-2020 and the general laws of the city of Coatesville, and the city of Coatesville master fee schedule shall be in full force and effect as of 12:01 a.m. September 9th. I wanted to read that so everybody had a clear understanding as to our fees and why we have it on the table now and the flexibility that we're allowing ourselves to be on top of and ahead of any increases. Are there any further questions regarding the fees schedule? Whole council, please.
Mr. Foltz,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Miss Salamine,
No.
Miss Graves,
Yes.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris,
Yes.
5-1.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
6.2, receive and consider proposal for Econ Partners for grant writing. Mr. Logan, would you expound on that for me, please, sir?
Yes.
No, first, let me get a motion first. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Can I
sorry.
get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I second.
I'm sorry. Now, sir, please.
So in your packet, you have a copy of the agreement from Econ Partners. The lead principal, Colleen Terry, she is known for her grant writing abilities. I've had the pleasure of working with Colleen, over a recent grant that we submitted on behalf of the RDA in the city of Coatesville. She brings with her a welcome knowledge with state and federal grant making. She has a well-versed knowledge of municipalities and various grants, from construction grants down to MS4 grants, to community grants as well. This particular proposal is to secure the services of Econ Partners as part of our grant making team, which right now is a team of 1. That's me. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We have a team of 2. That's me and Sergeant Steve Smith. And so what she will bring to the table is not only assisting us, but she will also help identify grants that we have not been able to acquire or even leverage for additional funding. The last point of this is that many council members, you know that we struggle with securing grants and using them as leverage to attract other grants. Oftentimes we can't even submit a grant because we don't have the matching funds to do so. So again, this is an opportunity for us to change that direction, and I hope you will agree on accepting Econ Partners' proposal.
Thank you, sir. Questions or comments, council?
Yes, I have a question. So the fee for this, Mr. Logan, will it be paid out of the rebranding part, or will it be paid out of the general fund?
Right now we have it slated coming out of the general fund, but if necessary, we can take it out of the rebranding.
Any other questions? Full council, please.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Ms. Salamine?
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt?
She's on mute.
No.
Sorry, yes.
Sorry. Mr. Folks?
Yes.
Mrs. Lebanon Norris?
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome, Colleen. 6.3, receive and consider Second Century Alliance downtown cleanup on October 3rd, 2020. Could I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it. I'm sorry, Mrs. Hunt. Mr. Logan, would you speak to it, please?
Sure. I'm happy to share with you all that Second Century Alliance in our continued efforts for revitalization and redevelopment initiatives here in the city of Coatesville. We are partnering with them on a downtown cleanup. This is going to be led by the downtown manager, Charles Green. The downtown cleanup will begin October 3rd. Part of the downtown, they will identify the pots that we have on Lincoln Highway, with which many of you are familiar with and love so dearly. But oftentimes we don't have folks out there to help us clean and replace some of the dead flowers or trees that are in there. So this particular program will be volunteer, resident led. I think Charles is working with a number of community residents. Ms. Mary Kyle is one of them, and we anticipate to have a good partnership on our beautification efforts in the downtown area.
Very well. Any questions or comments from council?
Yeah, I would just like to say that the residents were very, I mean, they had a big discussion on Facebook about adopting the pots and putting beautiful flowers like the one pot by the laundromat is beautiful. Yeah. And they were very excited about doing that. So kudos to Mary Kyle. She started the conversation and it went very well.
Very good. Full council, please.
Mr. Folks,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Alamin,
Yes.
Ms. Graves,
Yes.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris.
Yes.
6-0.
6.4, yes, sir. Receive and consider Second Century Alliance, the bonfire, a downtown Coatesville marketplace. Could I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Sorry. Was that Mrs. Green and Ms. Alamin?
Yes, sir. It was.
Thank you.
Okay, you could speak to that for public knowledge, sir.
Sure. Once again, a partnership with Second Century Alliance and Charles Green as the downtown city manager, or downtown manager, sorry. And the idea is to take a page from what the city is sponsoring on September 12th, and that's an open air market. So Mr. Green and I have been talking about extending that particular program to a series of open market dates that would include merchants from the downtown area, as well as new and emerging businesses throughout the city of Coatesville. The main focus is going to be for the merchants in the downtown area, though. I just want to be clear on that. So if you can imagine 3rd Avenue being transformed into an open air market where there will be several tents. There'll be, of course, COVID-19 guidelines, which will be one way into this particular market and one way out. Hand sanitizers, masks, social distancing, all included. And again, this is an opportunity for us to showcase some of our merchants in the downtown area, but also, feature some of these new businesses that are emerging. So those particular open markets will begin the third week of September. We're looking at a September 26th start, and they may run from the 26th of September to October 24th, all the way up to November 28th. And this will be, kind of either, I think it's going to be every other Saturday. So we're looking forward to that. And as I mentioned earlier, this is all in partnership with working with our downtown merchants.
I think I read that it would be every 3rd Saturday.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I see it right here. It's every 4th Saturday.
4th?
Yes, 4th Saturday. And these merchants, they will have to pay a peddler's license fee, as well as get their requirements for the health permits through the county health department.
Any questions or comments from council?
No, I think it's awesome.
Absolutely.
Highlighting the graduates. I think it's really nice.
Very, very nice.
Poll council, please.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Ms. Alamin? I'll come back to Ms. Alamin. Mrs. Hunt?
Yes.
Ms. Alamin?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Folks?
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris?
Yes.
Thank you.
6.5, receive and consider a letter of support to Second Century Alliance, Coatesville Downtown Revitalization Neighborhood Partnership Program application. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Mrs. Hunt, Mrs. Green. And once again, Mr. Logan, for public knowledge, please expound.
This is a kind of a traditional letter of support that we give to grant applicants that are looking to partner with either the city or other partners, other stakeholders in the community. On this particular grant submission on behalf, from the Second Century Alliance, the city of Coatesville is offering our support for the submission as well as the initiative itself that Second Century Alliance will be putting forth to revitalize the downtown Coatesville area. So this letter will go to the Honorable Dennis Davin, Secretary, Department of Community and Economic Development in the Harrisburg office. So it's, as I said, it's a kind of a traditional letter of support, and it's for a worthy program that Second Century Alliance is applying for.
Very well. Any questions or comments from council? Co-counsel, please.
Mr. Folks?
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt?
Yes.
Ms. Alameen?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, did you say yeah?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Mrs. Lavender Norris?
Yes.
Thank you.
6.6, receive and consider waiving peddler fees for the Coatesville business pop-up. Could I get a motion?
So
I'll
moved.
make that. All right.
Mrs. Hunt, Mrs. Green?
Yep.
All right, thank you. So this request is part of the CREATE program, which we had approximately 25 participants. The CREATE program, if those of you who may remember, it's a partnership with Kutztown University, the SBDC, the SBA program, and SCORE. This year, the city of Coatesville participated. One of our council members, Ms. Graves, also was participating in this workshop series. And we have graduated, excuse me, or part of the capstone is this open air market, as I talked about earlier. Unfortunately, as a city, we can't give them money. So in lieu of the gifts that Kutztown University gave some of the participants, which was as high as $250 for the first place presenter, which went to a young lady who's 12 years old. In lieu of that, I thought it'd be wonderful if we waive for one time the peddler's license fee for this city-sponsored event.
Wonderful. Questions or comments from council?
When we did the CREATE program last time, it cost us a whole lot more than that. I think that that's the least that we could do to fulfill our obligation to the graduates.
I just think it's an awesome opportunity for them to showcase their businesses and just to promote the city, because they're our future. So I truly appreciate it also.
And we're very excited about it. And I just want to, if I can just for one moment, just share this with you real quick. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
All right. So this is the promotional flyer that's going out. And one of the nice things that I just want to thank her publicly, Ms. Graves is going to, we're going to have a mini workshop to start the morning off. And the mini workshop is going to be on merchandising. This is part of Ms. Graves' I don't want to tell your story, Ms. Graves, but she has a passion for fashion and merchandising. So she's going to lend her services with another one of our program facilitators, Shannon Thomas, 9:30 on September 12th. So we're very excited and grateful to you, Ms. Graves, and to Ms. Thomas.
Thank you. I'm super excited to work with the business owners and very happy to do merchandising for them. I've done merchandising for worse people and worse companies, so I'm super excited to do some merchandising, you know, with some of the new business owners here, and I wish them I wish them well. I can't wait to see what some of them come up with.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Very well. Full council, please.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Ms. Graves,
Yes.
Ms. Alamy,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Mr. Foltz,
Yes.
Mrs.
Lavender Norris.
Yes.
Thank you.
6.7 is to hire Mr. James Logan as our city manager.
I'll make
Could I
that
get a motion?
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
second.
yeah, yeah. It passed. Next, poll council.
Would you like to expound on that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear who made the motion.
Okay, Mrs. Hunt and Mrs. Alameen. Miss Alameen, I apologize. Questions or comments from council?
I think that this is a wonderful thing that we're getting ready to do. I think that Mr. Logan is very deserving. And as you stated earlier, Ms. Lavender North, we're on the move and we're not skipping a beat. And I'm just grateful that we had him here in place.
I'm thankful too. I think Mr. Logan has done a phenomenal job in his tenure here. I'm very excited to be voting on him becoming the city manager, and I look forward to continue to working with him. He has a great passion for our city.
Thank you.
I just, I'm grateful for the whole trajectory of the city. And Mr. Logan, I am so confident in you just taking us to the next level. I'm thankful that you're here, and I just look forward to us moving the city forward as a whole. And I give you all my support. Anything I can do to help you, even in your transition from one position to another, and any of the work that stands ahead of you, if I can be of any support, please don't hesitate to let me know. It'll be my pleasure. Thank you, sir. And now, please poll council.
Mr. Foltz,
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Alamy,
Yes.
Ms. Graves,
Yes.
Mrs. Green.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris.
Absolutely.
No.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, is it, okay.
Thank you.
Yes, a round of applause. Woo!
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Now, Madam President, if it be council's pleasure, can we direct our new city manager to advertise for the assistant manager position?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll get right on that. If I can just say a few words before we move on to the next item. First and foremost, I want to give honor to God, and I want to thank you all, city council members. 2 short years ago, when I came in and applied for the position, I think some of you may have been a little bit like, I don't know if this is the right guy or not. But you welcomed me in the community, and certainly I embrace the community because it reminds me of where I was brought up. and you all have been very supportive. The council, it's something that, you know, I hope to continue to work with over the next, I don't know how many years, hopefully maybe 10 or more. But I see us moving in the right direction. I'm very excited about this. And I also just want to thank, you know, some of the staff members that have also been supportive. We have a tremendous team of people that works for the city. These are people that are behind the scenes that a lot of you don't see, from our public works department to our police department, under Chief Lawford's leadership, our fire department, Chief Alderman, finance, codes, our administrative staff, Ruth Ann. And, you know, it's just amazing that, you know, this time is coming together. The other individuals I don't want to forget, and they actually are the people that make me go in this community, and that's the residents. I mean, I love you guys, even though you call me sometimes telling me about the trash. I don't mind that because I understand what you're going through. And this is a city of a lot of diversity. And sometimes the conversation of the day may be about trash. Other times it's about building the city up. And that's what I like about it. The conversations will always be different. And that's what keeps me motivated. So thank you, residents. Thank you, council. Thank you, stakeholders. And I look forward to serving you all.
Thank you, sir. Again.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Manager. We need to close our action.
I'll make that motion.
Mrs. Green, Mrs. Alameen. Questions, comments? Poll council, please.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Ms. Alameen?
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt?
Oh, God.
Yes.
Mrs. Hunt, is she still there?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Folks?
Yes.
Drinking root beer?
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we're on to our discussion items. Is there any discussion regarding our meeting minutes? Very well. The business pop-up date changed to September 12th.
We just had a conflict in one of the dates, so we had to move it to the 12th.
Very well. The Domestic Violence Center requests to decorate downtown with purple ribbons. We do that every year in support of, that's Miss Amanda Winky.
Okay.
And then the Ash Park cleanup, is that the one with Miss Shannon Bailey?
Yes, that was on our last meeting. Ms. Bailey had made a request, and I have reached out to her. And if she's listening this evening, I look forward to circling back. We have bags and rakes available, and we are happy to assist you in the cleanup. I don't have the dates, so hopefully I can get the dates from her pretty quickly.
Very well.
Madam President?
Yes, sir.
Do they have a date on when they're going to put up the ribbons downtown?
I don't know the date. Ruth Ann, do you have the date for the when the ribbons are going to be put up?
I didn't see it. I didn't see a date.
No.
Well, if so, Mr. Logan, can you get us a date, please?
Sure.
Or Chief, I know she goes through the police department. on that.
Yeah, she usually works with Sergeant
Oh,
Olive.
no, it's right.
Yeah, I didn't see a date on the letter.
Yeah, it's sometime, I guess, before October, because October is the month.
Oh,
Right.
okay, okay.
The Domestic Violence Month is in October.
Right.
Yeah, I just double checked. It is October, and typically Sergeant Hollis coordinates, and we get the officers involved, and we do the ribbon tying every October.
Thank you, sir. Okay, resolution for National Juvenile Week.
Let's see. There is a resolution that I shared with Miss Bailey. Actually, there's a couple that the state of Pennsylvania has. So at this particular time, if there is something more specific that she would like to maybe have for Coatesville, if it's your will, council, I'd be more than happy to draft that. I don't know if that requires any legalese on a proclamation or something like that, Anthony. Do we need your services to write this proclamation for Juvenile Justice Week?
If you've done something similar in the past, you could probably use that format and have Ruth Ann draft it. If not, I'm glad to pick that up. Just let me know.
Can we adopt governors?
Can't hear you, Carmen.
You know, wait a minute. Can we just adopt the resolution that the state has for National Juvenile Week? We adopt it, or we partner with it, or whatever you want to call it? Or do we have to do a separate one?
I would think that you need an actual resolution of the city. Either adopting the governor's resolution or setting forth your own, but either way it would be an independent act.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. If we use the one that he has as opposed, or if she was to give information for it, like specific stuff that she's looking for in it.
James, I can work with James tomorrow on that. We can work out how best to do that.
But with regards to it already being in existence statewide, what would we do different?
That's why I was saying adopting the one that the governor's office has. The city of Coastal stands in agreement and adopts this resolution as National Juvenile Week, Justice Week or something.
Okay. On to 7.6, discussion regarding police hiring. Ms. Graves?
Yes. So with our discussion at our last council meeting, Mr. Burway mentioned that it would have to be legislation that would change the process of how we hired and considered for conditional hire, which is the council does for officers, looking into their past and doing things like a background check or receiving, if they had any complaints filed against them at their previous departments or was charged with anything criminal at their previous departments or had any ethics questions. I know, and thank you, Mr. Burway, for sending this to me, but Act 57 in Pennsylvania has been passed, and that starts next year in 2021, that makes it a requirement for all departments to do that kind of background check. But I thought and I understand that we have a civil service board too, but if we are going to be asked to vote on conditional hire, I do believe that we should be privy to that kind of knowledge so we can really keep our community safe and limit the potential for abuse of our constituents.
Hey, I'm sorry, Madam President, may I just speak to this for just a moment?
Yeah.
I did want to address, I did circulate to council an analysis of Act 57, which is going to require substantially more information be retained by police departments and shared amongst police departments. While the city certainly can adopt an ordinance, I think one of the issues that the chief and council will face, though, is that we cannot compel other police departments to maintain these records or to share their records, really. The chief does already, he asks those questions, but he has no ability to compel the release of information from another police department. So we could craft some type of legislation, but it's going to be difficult to access the type of information being sought that the chief already doesn't have access to, because no one is compelled to share that information with him.
However, Ms. Graves, I'm in agreement with you. And did everybody get their third-class city books? Because if you can take the time to read that section regarding the process with the Civil Service Commission and the City Council regarding the hiring of police, the process is in place. I just think that we're doing it backwards. And according to the third-class city code book, when that list comes in, the list is just for us to approve the list that the city, to accept the list that the civil service has given us. If we go to conditional hire, we are to be given information so that we can do that. And so the process that we're doing right now is backwards, and that's why I wanted those books, so that we all could read it for ourselves. And then once we read it for ourselves, have a discussion with our solicitor regarding it, because the processes are there, but it's not in the order. We're not doing it in the order. Because I agree with you. I think that we should have more information when we get the list. The list is just for us to accept the list, and the list is on file for 2 years. When someone comes up for appointment, where the chief wants to hire someone, that's when the information is given to make the hire, to agree with the hire, the conditional hire. He may not have the background completely done, but we should have information on that particular officer before we do conditional hire. And I know that someone said last time that they have not hired someone because of a background, and that no one has ever came back to council and said, we didn't hire this officer that you conditionally approved because of background. That's never happened, regardless of what was said at the last meeting. I've never had anyone come back and say that we didn't hire someone because their background wasn't good. So I think that we should be given the information before we agree to hire. That's the part that's backwards.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very big decision to make, and what we're doing is risking the safety of our constituents without being thorough. And I understand that the civil service is thorough, and we would love to hope that the chief is thorough, but I think the more steps, the better, because you can never put anything above safety.
Because in actuality, the Civil Service Commission just does the written test. They don't get involved in the other stuff. According to the other stuff comes later, and that's why I believe that the process is, we're doing the process not in order. We're automatically approving them when that list comes in and they say they want to hire. We give a conditional approval before we even know or have any idea of who the application. We don't see any paperwork, and we should.
Perhaps you could clarify. It's my understanding that there has to be a conditional offer of employment before the background investigation can be completed.
Yes,
that is my understanding from the third class city code as well.
Yeah. Say it again, Mr. Fairway.
There has to be a conditional offer before any further background.
Before that is completed, yes, but the third class city code says that we should be given information. Like there's things that they do when you do the background check, chief. What all do you do?
Well, all we do a complete thorough pre-employment background investigation. That includes prior job references, previous employers, criminal background, driver's license information, credit check, interviews with neighbors, with roommates from college. We do a thorough background investigation, and that includes, like we say, talking with previous employers, and sometimes they're not very forthcoming sometimes, just as we are not, as an employer, forthcoming when people ask us for references under directions from our labor attorney and from our HR. We are not forthcoming either.
What does the Civil Service Commission do?
Civil Service Commission is in charge of the testing. That is the written and the oral.
Yes.
Right.
That's it. Well, I left my third-class city code book up at City Hall, and I did not have a day off last week to go get it. So I think that Ms. Graves, if we could, review that, because I'm right there with you on that, and look at the process that the third-class city code says that when it comes to us, it should come with information.
Your phone keeps going out, Carmen.
Oh, I'm sorry. The third-class city code says that when it comes to us for conditional hire, that it should come with some documentation and some information. So if we could just review that first and then come back to this at another time.
Very well. Okay, we're on to our report. And our first report is from our solicitor.
Madam President, since our last meeting, I have worked on a couple of different litigation matters involving right to know issues, as well as some land use issues. I have also worked on resolution, which we addressed this evening. I worked on some pension issues with Mr. Troutman to clarify some matters related to fees that could be paid. I have worked on issues related to real estate and grants regarding some of the grants that are going to be made for our park system, for the city's park system. That, Madam President, is my report. And unless there are any questions, that's my report.
Are there any questions from council? Very well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. On to our manager. Your report, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening, I want to just report out on a couple of areas, starting with the business and community development. As we mentioned earlier, Econ Partners Consulting Service Agreement is something that I'm looking forward to working with Colleen, Terry on this particular initiative. We've, as I said earlier, been working on some other projects. We actually have a list of priority grants that we're going to go after. So once again, on the business development and community development side, I'm looking forward to working with her on that. Also, I just want to kind of give you an update. Econ Partners was instrumental in submitting a grant, a recap for RCAP, I'm sorry, a grant. There are approximately 596 applications that were submitted for that grant for a total of over $2 million in funding requests. So these are very, very competitive grants. And there were 14 applicants in Chester County. Colleen is going to keep us posted on that. I think we have a great shot because she led this particular grant making exercise. And 14, again, I think we're going to have a pretty good shot at that. So I'm excited. I can't wait till Colleen circle back with us on the progress of that grant report. On to the train station items. Panoni has completed 100% of the plans and presented the plans to Amtrak and SEPTA for the train station platforms. The city will receive Amtrak's design approval letter soon, and then construction bids are anticipated to go out this fall. So, folks, you waited 20 years for a train station, and it looks like the train is coming. So I'm very excited about that. The physical, or I should say the projected physical work is scheduled to start in February of 2021. So that's wonderful. I would like to just add an asterisk to this. Amtrak has not reviewed or committed to any of these dates. These are tentative goals to advance the project. And in part, that's partly due because of the tremendous amount of work that Amtrak has right now. Everyone knows that COVID has impacted a lot of work stoppage, or at least a decline in employees getting to work. So we just appreciate Amtrak and PennDOT, all of the construction partners in pushing these efforts through, as well as Second Century Alliance and Econ Partners and the RDA. So thanks to all of those players. Mark Lane Properties. Mark Lane is the owner of Midway Arts, who has been on a tear lately. He is getting more people into that building than you can shake a stick at. And congratulations to Mark Lane and his people over there. They closed on the record building, that's 204 and 206 East Lincoln Highway on August 3rd. They have secured an economic development liquor license from the PLCB, and they're working on developing a restaurant concept now. According to Ms. Huntsinger, they have contractors inside the building right now, scraping and painting and cleaning up the building. They're hoping to have something by the end of the year, but due to COVID, they're not sure right now. So again, we're excited about that. And, working with the RDA and Second Century Alliance and Mark Lane's people, my hat goes off to them. The RDA city parcels, we have 3 parcels that basically we were seeking to get appraisals on. The first parcel was the 3rd Avenue location and 3rd and Lincoln Highway. The other 2 parcels were near the train station or Fleetwood Avenue. Those appraisals came in, and we're happy to resume conversations with potential investors that are interested in all 3 parcels. We have 3 investors that have expressed interest in parcels, purchasing these parcels. So again, very excited about that. Coatesville is moving, and the Opportunity Zone has been a tremendous boost in the city's arm to attract investor attention. So we hope we can keep that momentum going as we started it last year. And it's amazing how fast it's gone already. We kind of celebrated a 1-year anniversary of an Opportunity Zone already. So again, we hope to keep that moving forward. You heard earlier this evening from DEPG, Jim DePetris and Steve and the rest of the team. The project will soon resume development activity. We will have a on-site meeting with Cedarville and the rest of the stakeholders. And the effort there is to keep things moving. I mean, we're tired of pointing fingers. I'm not going to even comment about the attorney that was on earlier for the Petras Group. Obviously he's still not on because I guess he didn't want to get the facts. But if he attends the meeting, we'll lay the facts out for him so he can get his story straight. On to business 30 and 82. The realignment completion is targeted for spring of 2021. There has been a series of delays on that particular project due to some Pico and Verizon issues. Those issues have been pretty much taken care of. It involves some power lines and water issues. But again, Pico will be resuming work on that. And as mentioned earlier, yes, Pico is very stressed because of all of the other work due to the severe storms and personnel being reallocated to neighborhoods that have been impacted by trees and flooding. So there's a lot going on in the development side of the city, and we hope to just continue to, put our foot to the pedal on these. On to the community update and awareness and events. August 13th, this is a follow-up for one of our meetings with Representative Chrissy Houlihan. She led a panel conversation about economic recovery for our community, the Commonwealth and the country. This program will air soon. I don't have an actual date, but we are excited that we were a part of that conversation, as well as Representative Houlihan inviting some of our residents and business owners to attend that as well. August 18th, we meaning Sue Springsteen and Sonny Huntsinger, we had an opportunity to tour a facility called Second Chances Farm. This is located in Wilmington. Second Chances Farm nurtures plants and people. And what they do is they provide for returning citizens or ex-offenders mentorship programs and green collar jobs in hydroponic indoor vertical farms. So we took a visit, we met with the founder, Ajit George, and we learned about indoor hydroponic farms, and hopefully there might be some partnership there. I don't know, but it's another opportunity to look at new adventures and maybe thinking outside of the box for the city of Coatesville to bring jobs to this community. Their particular farm right now, I think, employs up to 30 people. So that would be a wonderful boost in our arm to get 30 Coatesville residents, pretty much hired for those jobs there. August 19th, I had the pleasure of meeting a gentleman by the name of Mike Taylor. He is the owner of Soul Fish Market. That's going to be located at 658 Chestnut. He's working right now on renovations in a parking area. Opening date is pending inspections and COVID-19. On to Palmer Park project summary. Karen Clancy was nice enough to provide an update. We're working on phases 2 and 3 of Palmer Park. We will be contacting Cedarville to select a design. And again, we're just moving forward on that particular project. Phase 2 and 3 is estimated at about $500,000. Currently, the Green Coatesville Initiative partners, which includes Brandywine Health Foundation and Natural Lands Trust, has raised a total of $385,000 for this combination of sources, including DCED and DCNR. So we're very excited about that, and I want to thank them and the private donors and corporate donors at Natural Lands Trust, Brandywine Health Foundation, and the city of Coatesville have been able to bring to the table. The last thing, our last couple of items include our census tract. I received an update from the census representative. Coatesville right now, we're still low, folks. We have to get our numbers up. We are about 46.3%. 2010 rate was 54%. The national rate is 64%. So we are way behind. And as you all know, your census is important because it helps us secure funding for various programs for our youth, for our seniors, and for the community. So if you have not taken the census, please do so. We want to get our numbers up to at least 55, 60%. Right now, on the internet, we're trending at 42%. That's good. That means that you guys are going to the internet to do it, but 42% is not going to get it. So please take a moment to take the census and get our numbers up. Voter registration. We have a number of local residents and advocates that will be putting together voter registration booths the week of September 19th. Those will be throughout the city of Coatesville. In addition to voter registration, we still have the COVID testing site over here at Gordon Elementary. That is open on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12:30 to 3. From 12:30 to 5:30. And as far as the most recent report, and this number may be off because I didn't look at the report after 3 o'clock today, but we do have 201 cases That was, and we're still, you know, it's not good, but it's not bad. But we still need to remember, you know, mask up, glove up, use your hand sanitizer, and just keep everyone protected, safe, and healthy. On Sunday, September 6th, we are going to have our Labor Day weekend fireworks. Thanks to you all, council members, for approving this. We're really excited about it. This is kind of a shift from our Unity Day fireworks because we didn't have Unity Day. We are going to celebrate at our homes or in our driveways, 6 feet or more apart, and just get out there and enjoy the Labor Day fireworks again, September 6th. I think that's going to start around 8 o'clock, 8:30, depending on how fast the sun goes down. As I mentioned earlier, the Kutztown University and the City of Coatesville partnered to have business startup training took place. Very excited about the graduates. And on September 12th, we're going to have our first pop-up and shop outdoor marketplace. So again, very excited and looking forward to working with those emerging businesses. I think that's it for now. And certainly I'll be updating you as well as the community in the next couple of weeks. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, on to, do we have any?
We have finance.
Mr. Troutman, are you here?
Yes, I am, Madam President and Council. I have 2 updates. Number 1, we continue to track the COVID expenses and especially the key revenues. So far, we have received over $6,000 reimbursement from our health plan for specific bills that we have incurred. And regarding the key revenues, which would be the real estate, the earned income tax, and the solid waste, we're running about 3.5% over last year's numbers. So we're doing really well tracking through those so far. And especially on the earned income tax, we have a key month was August in collections. And so far, it's showing that we're right on track. We haven't felt the impact that other communities have had. The county was expected to be about 1.3% negative. So that's according to the state studies. So we're doing really well compared to our own numbers and compared to relative numbers in the county. Second update would be is speaking specifically to our financial status. I'm going to be using a 1-page format for most months, and then quarterly we'll be providing the complete financial packages that you've been getting. And on the 1-page format, which I'll speak to specifics now, is it includes the year-to-date actual, the year-to-date budget, a year-to-date variance, and then for the full year, it will have the total budget and the total variance for the year, and this will be for the 4 major funds that we track and report. So on the revenue side, we continue to be positive, as I mentioned previously, based off of primarily the 3 major revenue streams that we have. And regarding expenses, through July, we're 58.fraction% of the year gone, and our expenses are well below that percentage threshold in all the funds. So our revenues are higher and our expenses are tracking lower than budgeted. Therefore, combining the 2, we're favorable to budget. And that would be my report for the evening.
Thank you. That's wonderful news.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Madam President.
Yes, sir.
But I see Dr. Hannah still there. I mean,
Tomas.
Are they going to extend the school taxes this year because of the COVID? Or is there a timeline? Is everything the same, or did they extend it?
So we have not extended. One of the reasons we haven't is that while the students aren't coming in person, there are still there's still the work that has to happen, teachers and all the work we're engaging in. So that did come up about a week ago in a question and in conversation. We thought we would stay the course at this point.
Okay.
Well, when the governor extended the deadline, that didn't extend the school districts.
As I understand it, it would be for the board to be able to vote on that, and that's not a direction that we opted to go in at this point. Happy to get back if I'm incorrect, but I think that's how I recall it.
I mean, the extension period is over, I think, anyway.
It is.
To the end of the month.
Let's see. Any other questions or comments? All right. I can't find my agenda now. Okay. Do we have any citizens hearings on non-agenda items?
No, I don't have anything.
Thank you. So we're on to our council comments. Mr. Folks.
Yeah, I'm glad that that Mr. Hanna, congratulations. I'm glad if I can meet you sometime, have some coffee or something, and just talk. To our district attorney, I want to thank you for coming on. Shout out to Sherman, Mark Sherman. I give him a shout out. Very pleased of him coming to Coatesville, and this took off without even asking for anything. So I appreciate that from him, and that he's believing in our town. And to our new head man, to the new axe person, Mr. Logan, man, I'm pleased. I don't think you're going to let us down. Nobody's perfect, but I'm just pleased to see what you're going to do with this city, because I know you have a lot of ideals in your head. And like I said, if you need help, you know the number. So I'm pleased to say welcome to the city of Coatesville as the head man. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
That was nice, Donald.
Mrs. Hunt?
She's gone.
She's gone.
Yes.
Okay. Who's next to her? Councilwoman Graves.
Hello, how are you, everyone? I just want to thank everybody at home for watching and everyone who rewatches on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for being able to take the time out of your day to be invested in your city and to hear about what's going on here. Thank you so much, Mr. Tomas. All students, regardless of income, deserve excellent access to education, and us being a working class community, I'm so glad that you are committed to spreading the full level of education to our students and thinking of ways that working class students can have charter level education through the public school system. So thank you so much. And also, Ms. Beth, thank you for your presentation. Keeping our water systems are so important. Our water cycle is just so important to how humans live and experience. Everything that lives needs water, and so we live right with the environment and not against it. So thank you for holding us accountable to do our part to make sure we keep our stormwater clean and our planet clean. I just actually over the weekend took a swim in the West Brandywine Creek, and I would love for my descendants and their descendants to be able to do the same thing. So keeping it clean and green is so important. And thank you, Deb Ryan, for your presentation. If you could follow up with me to let me know if your innocence application is retroactive, because we do have a person actually from Coatesville who was charged with a serious case in Chester County and remains innocent. And so I would love to have a conversation about that innocence application. And Mr. Logan, congratulations for your new appointment as city manager. You are a very charismatic and passionate man, and I think that you will do very well by our city. So I'm so excited to continue working with you. And this is an important message. Everybody, please fill out your census. Coatesville is full of historically undercounted populations, such as renters, homeless people, low-income people, people of color, and undocumented people. We are all historically undercounted, and we need to make sure that we do get counted in the census to make sure that we are counted for funding. And there cannot be retribution from any other government agency. So if you are a low-income person who, say, for instance, receive public housing and are afraid to count an extra person that you have living in your house, you can't get any retribution for that. If you're an undocumented person, you can't get any retribution for that. So please get counted for the census, and please get registered to vote. So thank you guys, and good night.
Thank you. Councilwoman Alameen.
First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and watching on YouTube. I want to say thank you to all of our special guests tonight for your presentations. District Attorney Deb Ryan, thank you for the work that you did with the Coatesville Police Department. Dr. Hannah, welcome to the school district in the city of Coatesville. We look forward to working with you. Mr. Logan, congratulations on your appointment tonight as city manager. Well deserved. I look forward to continuing to work with you. I love the passion that you have for our city and for our residents. I'm going to echo Councilperson Graves. The census is very important, guys. Please, please, please fill your census out so we can get our fair share of grant money. Let's please remember that COVID is still very active and alive. Everybody needs to wear their masks and safe distance. Chief, if you could just, I want you to thank all of your officers for their hard work, but if you could please remind them that when they're doing their stops and things, they have contact, probably more contact than anybody with our residents. They need to please wear their masks. And everybody, please, please, please register to vote. And I just hope that everybody has a wonderful evening. Thank you all again for coming.
Thank you. Councilwoman Green.
Thank you. I just want to thank everyone who tuned in tonight. Tonight was a great meeting. We had many, many great presentations, and just want to thank Mr. DePetris and his team. Hang in there, work hard, get this together with PICO. Some kind of way we got to figure this out. And I do appreciate you staying on the call with us tonight. The city is moving. The city is, the slogan out there now is Coatesville's rising. And we really, truly are. And I'm so grateful for council for coming together and acknowledging Mr. Logan and positioning him and putting him as our new city manager. Mr. Logan, I have full confidence in you. I've been telling you that for a long time. I knew you should have been our manager. And I'm glad that you are. So regardless of what I said when you first came, I changed my mind. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I recorded it.
Yeah, we heard a lot, and I'm so grateful for our new district attorney and all her innovation in the programs and the initiatives that that office has taken in the midst of this climate that we're in. I'm just grateful for her being open and coming and doing that presentation tonight. Chief Lawfer, you guys, I'm so grateful that you continue to keep our community safe. That big drug bust that you had, that neighborhood is grateful and they appreciate all your hard work and all the effort that went into making that neighborhood safe again. Um, so again, I'm just, I would like to just echo the same, the census I share on my Facebook page every single day regarding the census. And one of the statistics that I got is surrounding communities are in the high 90s in their completion of the census. And we're still hovering around 46%, which is not good. And as Councilwoman Graves was just saying, we're always significantly undercounted. And it's just so important, not only just for the things that we all want, housing and grant money and all of that, but the fact that our representation in government is all based on the census. They use those numbers at the end of the year, and that's when they do redistricting and things like that. And then we find ourselves, not getting the proper representation, but we're not being counted if we don't fill out the census. So it's real important. We have a community that has a lot of very diverse people and very diverse needs. So we need to be counted. You're not going to be held in retribution for, Section 8 housing and having someone live with you. You're not going to face a penalty because you're illegal. We need to know that you're here. You have to be counted. Our community depends on it. So please fill out the census. Unfortunately, with the COVID, I'm not sure if they're doing the door-to-door. Are they doing the door-to-door? Mr. Logan, do you know?
No, not right now. I think there's some discussion about it, but I don't think they're doing it right now.
But it's really important that we get it done and we get on top of it, because there was some talk of ending the census early, and that would be devastating to us if they were to end the census any time soon and we're not counted. So please fill it out, get it done. It takes not even 5 minutes online. It's a very short survey. And again, I just thank everyone. I'm just appreciative for all the hard work that everyone puts in. Miss Beth, I thank you for your presentation on the stormwater. Again, these things are important. So thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
Thank you. I just want to echo my colleagues in my gratitude for all of our presenters. I'm excited about the direction we're moving in and the fact that we're moving. I want all of our residents to know and understand that we as a council, we don't know it all, we can't do it all, but what we do is expect for you to inform us where there's an issue and lock arms with us when we fall short in manpower. If you see something wrong, say so. If you can't write it, let somebody else know and ask them to help you make it right. I'm available. I'm not of much help, but I'm available and I can make connections and communicate for you. I'm willing to do it. Our city right now is like on the move, and for a long time, we were stuck. And everybody knows we were stuck, and We had a bad reputation and the whole nine, but by the grace of God, we're moving forward now. And we stand tall and proud of the city of Coatesville. We just celebrated a centurion in the city of Coatesville, Miss Annie Eggleston. She turned 100 years, has been here the entire time. Like, can you imagine how she feels having been here all this time and seeing the change in our city? Like, we want to honor these people, and we can honor them by showing how much we care, stepping up to the plate and saying, when you see somebody doing something wrong, that's not okay. Just tell them it's not okay. Like, you don't have to fight them. You don't have to argue with them. Just let them know you see. That's all it takes sometimes. If there's trash in front of your house, the street sweeper, when I was a child, I was the street sweeper in front of my house. My mom told me, get the broom and go sweep. That was it. So there are things we can do with regard to our census. I think the amount per person that comes in with the census is like $2,300 per person. So if you have 5 people in your household, that's $10,000 that could come into our community. We said the Mr. Newson's pool project. They want a pool, fill out those census, the money can come into the community. We have to do part, and don't think anything you do is minor or small, because it's covering what someone else couldn't do. We're here for each other. We're going to get this job done together. I am certainly grateful for all our presenters. That was amazing. Not that anybody's less than anybody else, but I'm so excited about our district attorney's trajectory. That's amazing to me, because that speaks to real life issues. Like, some people can write, some people can sing, other people can swing a sickle, other people can use a hammer. But when we come together, we can get the job done. All we have to do is support one another. I just need y'all to know that I love you. God bless you. And I pray that everybody has a blessed evening. And thanks for hanging out with us. Can I get a motion to close? Now y'all don't want to close?
I second.
Okay, who made the motion, Ms. Graves?
Yes.
And Mr. Folk?
Yes.
Full council, please.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Logan.
Oh, I said Mrs. Green.
No, I said Mr. Logan. I apologize.
What?
Welcome, our new city manager. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thanks very much.
Sorry, full council.
Ms. Graves?
Yes.
Ms. Elamine?
Yes,
Mrs. Hunt?
she's gone.
Here.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Foltz?
Yes.
Mrs. Lavender Norris?
Yes.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yes, Mr. Manager.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Stay
Have a good
safe.
evening.
Thanks,
Have a
everybody.
good night, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Hannah.
Everyone.
Thank you for the warm
Thank
welcome.
you.
That's good.